Ben White is confirmed as an Arsenal player. The deal is done. £50 million from Brighton. He joins an exciting young variety of players to join the Arteta revolution at Arsenal, with Tavares and, of course, Lokonga already through the door. Ben White, an exceptional talent, chased and coveted by the likes of Jurgen Klopp and Bielsa in recent years. Excellent debut season last year for Brighton in the Premier League. That call up to the England squad, although he didn't feature at Euro 2020, certainly one for the future for Southgate and the Three Lions. An excellent signing, in my opinion, a young player with a very, very big ceiling indeed. But what next for Arsenal this window? James Maddison still being worked on diligently by Arsenal Football Club. On top of that, Granit Xhaka getting a new deal. Granit Xhaka being offered a new deal is something which is being discussed now by Arsenal Football Club. We're going to delve into that and much, much more. Make sure you smash that like button. You subscribe to the Football Terrace. The deal is done. There you go. Hello, welcome back to the Terrace. I hope you're all doing very, very well indeed. Ben White completes his move on a permanent deal to Arsenal Football Club. A very talented signing indeed for the Gunners. A lot of money. You know, Arsenal now are focused on Granit Xhaka next, as we mentioned, and a new contract has been proposed. The board are saying they're confident in him. Xhaka, of course, agreed personal terms with Roma, but no agreement was found between the two football clubs. And this is the sticking point for Arsenal right now. The reason they haven't pushed on with any of these midfield signings is partly they don't know who they can land. They don't know who they can get through the door. But it also, you have to pull into the factors of who Arsenal think they can. Arsenal have got to get rid of players. Everybody has to buy to sell to a certain degree. And moving the likes of Granit Xhaka on and other fringe players from this Arsenal squad is absolutely imperative before they push the trigger button with the Aouars, with the Neveses, with the Basumas, with the James Maddisons. Now that it appears that the deal for Granit Xhaka to Roma could be falling through, could be something that collapses, it's very, very interesting and intriguing to see exactly what Arsenal do from this moment moving forward. I'm going to delve into some of your comments here about this. Get Xhaka out now is what Mustafa says. We don't want Odegaard. I mean, that's someone that's been linked to Ben here. Says there's absolutely nothing advanced or agreed between Willian and whoever that is there. Not even contact or talks. That's from Fabrizio Romano. Well, yeah, I hadn't even heard about that rumor, if I'm being absolutely honest with you. I hadn't heard about that rumor in any way, in any shape, or in any form. And I'm not surprised. Yeah, it is what it is. I didn't even hear about him going anywhere else. I've not even really read one credible report all summer about Willian leaving, if I'm being honest. South London's finest says Xhaka new deal. I understand he's the pros and cons of the player, but he has been begging for a move ever since the Emirates incident, and we are now offering him a new contract with 2 years left. I don't necessarily think it's the worst piece of business that Arsenal could do at this particular moment in time. I really don't think it's bad business at all. And I say that because you're just in a situation now where if it's only like Roma that want him. And if Roma can't get the deal done, Arsenal want to protect their asset. That is the long and the short of it when it comes to Granit Xhaka. Are you looking to build the midfield around him for the next 2 to 3 years? No, you're not. Arsenal Football Club are quite simply not looking to do that. What Arsenal Football Club are looking to do is to protect the asset within their team. Football fans have got to start listening to the financial experts who advise the football clubs on the best way to manage and maintain their assets. And often it's giving them new deals. In these circumstances, it's giving them new deals. It's enabling them to ensure that they maintain the value. 2 years remaining. If he doesn't go this summer, at the end of this following season, he has 1 year left. It means the valuation of the player drops even further. If Arsenal give him a new deal with no monetary increase in terms of his salary, they're on a hiding to nothing. They're not going to lose anything. Hiding to nothing. It's the opposite to that. It's a win-win situation. It means the following summer, if Roma want him, Arsenal still maintain the bargaining chips. Chelsea Football Club renewed the contract at the end of the season for Olivier Giroud. In the end, a deal was struck that enabled him to leave. But if it didn't, they still had a cover and a player for that year, but they triggered it instantly, so they got some money for him in the summer. Even if it's a menial fee, every little helps. You get £2-3 million more. That pays the salaries of a number of your players and staff for a few weeks. Like it shouldn't be looked at. It really shouldn't be kind of scoffed at in terms of that. Granit Xhaka might reject it. There's no doubt he might reject it. This is where it becomes interesting. So maybe they do need to look at a slight pay rise for him and say, look, we know you don't want to stay long term. We will let you go if the right offer comes in next summer. We'll compensate you with an extra 10, 15, 20 grand a week. Arsenal will weigh that up, and they won't offer him more per week or more per year than what they'll lose in his valuation. If his valuation they anticipate is going to drop by £10 million, they're not obviously going to pay him £10 million a year more. It might give him an increase of a few £1,000,000. So at least then there's a monetary advantage for Granit Xhaka doing it. And it then protects Granit Xhaka should he suffer a really bad injury towards the end of the season and can't move for that reason. So there's lots of reasons why clubs and players do what's being proposed. It isn't a great shock. We've seen it already over the course of this season. So yeah, from my point of view, not too much of a worry at all. Considering we are going to spend around 35 million on a new central midfielder, now that Xhaka is going to extend that 35 million extra for Maddison into our budget. Well, you also might find that too. If Granit Xhaka stays, it might mean that you put the money that was going to be used, as you say, towards a new central midfielder. Maybe that money can then be used elsewhere for an attacking midfielder or something along those lines. Marble Halls TV says bad news on Xhaka. He has to go still. White in, welcome him. We need central midfielders over Maddison is what's being spoken about there. And maybe you do. I mean, there's still a lot of talk about Maddison going into more of an 8 role and everything else that's being spoken about. But I never really know how serious to take those types of updates, if that makes sense. I always sort of feel like, not that they're wrong. I just always kind of feel like they're fans clutching at straws. I don't really feel like there's any mileage in buying a player that you've recognized for being brilliant as a kind of 10 and an attacking midfielder, then playing him in an 8 role. People are trying to do it with Bruno Fernandes. Oh, he's done well for Portugal in a deeper role. Yeah, but that's because Portugal have their goal scoring talisman in Cristiano Ronaldo. So the system is different. Man United bought Bruno to do for us what he was doing for Sporting Lisbon and be a midfielder who is very creative, but an elite level goal scorer. So let him do that job. Everybody's bemoaned. The irony is Man United fans have moaned and cried and moaned and whinged and bitched and moaned and cried that Pogba's been played in he's lesser position too much at United, and we've not seen the best of him. But they're asking the same thing to be done to Bruno. Arsenal fans, how often have you been screaming about Aubameyang not being played in the right way to get the best out of Aubameyang? Why would you want to do that with James Maddison? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But who do you think you're going to sign next in those midfield areas? I would love to know now, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure you do me a favor and smash that like button right now. Let's get this stream past 500 likes, please, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get that done right about now. I want to know what you're saying. Let's have a look here. This is from Gunnar King, who says, we will still sign a deeper central midfielder and get rid of others to fund that and make the squad space if Xhaka extends. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I still think Arsenal have got more business to do. I've seen a lot of negative Arsenal fans across social media in the last couple of days. And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't say I've been shocked by it. Saying I've been shocked by it would be a lie. It would be a lie. Negative people are negative people are negative people. But yeah, let's see what happens. Terry, what about Bernardo? You mean Bernardo Silva to Arsenal? Is that who you mean? Because for me, I know you're linked with another Leon player at the minute. Bruno, can't remember his surname. Is it? It begins with G. Yeah, I don't know. Is it Leon? Maybe. I've heard his name. I don't even know who he is. I'm not even going to lie. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend. I know he's a central midfielder. There's some lad. But yeah, Bernardo Silva, I very much doubt would be on his way. Bernardo Silva is going back home. He wants out of the UK. Yeah, he's not going. Yeah, this gentleman here. Yeah. Look, I can't see Bernardo Silva going to Arsenal Football Club. Not even for all the money in the world. I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think he will. Terry, Arsenal are still buying a midfielder even if Xhaka is staying. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, like I've said to many people, Arsenal have been, and I don't want to be disrespectful when I say this, but Arsenal have been slow off the mark. Not slow off. That's wrong. That's wrong. You've been a little bit slow of getting the signings done in terms of the central midfield, because of Xhaka leaving, because you don't quite know who he's going to agree and not to. You've got 2 or 3 of your targets being chased by other clubs. Arsenal fans have just got to remain patient. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. Remain patient. It will come in time. Don't stress yourselves about it. Like it will be okay. And I think most people are pretty sure that it will be okay. Let's go through a few more of these comments that are coming through here. Wait, let's have a look here. Yeah, a lot of you are saying, how do you say that name? I want to know how to say it. I can read it. I just don't know how to say it because I don't know who he is. Gunner TV Banner says a joke. I don't know what that means either. I love my comments from my people, but please specify, because it's hard to read your comments out when they don't make sense contextually. You need to apply context to your comments sometimes. Terry is right. We need to chill a bit. Of course you do. There's 4 weeks remaining of this transfer market. And remember, there hasn't been very many significant signings. Ben White is one of them. Ben White is a marker being laid down. Sancho don't count because a lot of that work was done last summer, and over the course of the season, it was a nailed-on deal to be done. All the other deals are kind of new to this year. Grealish, £100 million official bid's gone in. Ben White completes today. They're 2 big money deals that are in the process. Think about where are all the others? Where are all these big money deals? Where are all of these transfers to set the markers? Jack Grealish going for 100 million helps everybody to regulate the prices on James Maddison. It helps regulate the prices on all the other players because everyone knows how good he is. Ben White does that to a degree as well. Ben White, in my opinion, makes Jack Grealish and James Maddison more expensive. You can't, if you're Arsenal, turn around and pay 50 million for a very talented young England centre-back and not expect to pay 30+ million more for a midfielder, more proven in the Premier League, of similar age, high technical ability, good level of outputs. And that isn't that Arsenal are going to try and negotiate the price down, but that's just things that are being set. So I do think people have got to relax massively. They've got to relax massively. There's no doubt. Ben White worth 25 million max. Let's be honest. Do you know what we're going to do on that there? We're going to open up the phone lines now for you to come on and have your say. Everyone's saying he isn't worth it. I want people to put their money, their views where their mouths are. And I want you to phone up and I want you to tell me why, what he's worth and why. I want you to phone up. I want you to come on. You're not going to get shot down. I'm not going to shoot anybody. I might say, why do you think that? But that's what we need here. Specificity. I want to understand why you think he's not worth 50 million. Why only 25? I want facts here. I want facts and I want outright opinion. Why is he not worth 50 million pounds? I need to learn here. You're going to educate me. I need to understand what you mean, because 75% of the vote think he's going to be a success. So 75% of people think he's a success. If he's going to be a success, surely he's worth the money. Give us a call. First up on the show today, Gunnar King is here with me. Ben White is an Arsenal player. Give me your thoughts, mate.
Ben White, excited to see how this transfer pans out. I think a lot of people saying that he isn't worth the money need to understand how the market works. You know, when you're buying anything, it's market driven, right? So, you know, all these comparisons with Varane, we're aware that Varane was in a different situation to Ben White. Less years on his contract, not coming from an English club, not an English player, not being sold by a club that needs to reduce their wage bill to fall in line with a new regulation that the Spanish league has brought in, which cumulatively means that their wage bill needs to be under a certain amount. That creates a necessity to sell. Now, Ben White is not subject to any of those things. And if you look at the market in the last few years of transfers, you have to look at a comparable one would be Harry Maguire. Obviously was a bit more proven when he left Leicester to join Manchester United, but he is an English player coming from an English club. And what that does is that sets a precedent, as you've just said correctly, Terry. You know, that raises the bar of the valuations of all transfers after that fact that happened of a similar nature. So this is the market we're in now. The last player that we signed that was 27 years or younger, that was English and coming from an English club, was Danny Welbeck. And Arsenal have avoided this kind of transfer for monetary reasons, because they didn't want to get caught in these shenanigans of having to pay an English tax for players. And I think the last few years of our form, it can be fair to assume that that hasn't helped us. Not having a core of English players makes it difficult for someone like, say, a Nicolas Pepe, who comes with a good reputation from a French league and a French club, to settle, because there aren't a core of English players to help him do that, bar the young ones that are less established than him in their development phase. So I get it from the rival fans, but when our own fans try to suddenly become accountants over something that, as a football club, we need to do, it baffles me even more. You know, like you wouldn't consider all of these factors and just celebrate. You know, when we're not doing business in previous windows, we moan about how late we do the business, how laboured it is, how low our bids are, and then when we do it, all of a sudden we're becoming bookkeepers and accountants for players that are English. You know.
Do you know what I find with it all? If I'm being brutally honest, is, and this is all fan bases, not just Arsenal's. Mm-hmm. There is this kind of notion now of, I want us to spend money, but I only want us to spend money on players that I rate, that I think are good. If they're not on my list, I'm going to be overtly negative about them. And you know, again, last summer as an example, I take it to Man United because I can speak emotively about Man United and I can't about other clubs. Mm-hmm. But actually, I'll talk about Chelsea. Chelsea fans were raging at the beginning of last year. Mason Mount wasn't good enough, too much sentiment towards him, and Ben Chilwell is an overpriced Englishman. By the end of the season, They were loving them both because they proved to be every bit as good as any of their more fancied foreign counterparts within their team and within their squad. And I think the same thing is going to happen here for Arsenal. I think Ben White is going to shock a lot of Arsenal fans, and he's going to prove. Now, what you're going to have with some people are negative, but if he turns out to be very good, we'll say, do you know what? I got that wrong. And that's fair. But what you'll find with some is he could be great for 10 games, 15 games, 20 games. And the one game where he makes a mistake, I'll call it now. You'll just see from them, told you he wasn't world class. And the irony in it is, Arsenal Football Club in my lifetime, and I might not name them all here, I've had centre-backs that have been top to world class. Keown, Sol Campbell, Tony Adams as examples to me, like top class centre-backs. I've seen those players make Kolo Toure. When he's Pomp. I've seen all of those centre-backs make terrible mistakes. I've seen all of those centre-backs like do things wrong. And I think Ben White at 24 years of age is going to shock people at how good he is. But what Arsenal fans who are positive have got to not protect Bold. Someone else says, yeah, Bold was quality as well. What people have got to protect themselves against is the over-analysing that's now going to come with him. He hasn't cost as much as the Harry Maguire, granted, but £50 million for someone who, with Harry Maguire, he was at least in the England team, and Guardiola was chasing him as well. But look at the over-analysing that's gone into Harry Maguire over the course of the past 2 years. And it got so bad that a lot of England fans in the summer, when he was doing brilliantly for England at the Euros, said, I forgot how good he was. That means you don't watch him play. You just follow the memes and the over-criticising and everything else that was in the newspapers and on social media. And Arsenal fans have just got to prepare themselves that Ben White is in for a very tough ride from the negative Arsenal fans and rivals alike. But then you've just got, as a collective, be strong enough to handle that.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that already. You know, like there was a game, you know, against Brighton where Rashford, you know, sent him to the shop a few times. You know, like Rashford being in his pomp at the time, you know, like going all around social media, you know, like this is what Arsenal are getting for 50 million. What you're getting for 50 million is a young centre back, and more so than other positions, especially the defensive positions, your goalkeepers, your centre backs. Especially the central defensive positions are where players peak at a much later age, and where the only way they can develop, there's only so much they can learn on the training pitch. The rest they have to learn on the job, the hard way. I got a newsflash for Arsenal fans. This guy's going to make mistakes. I am at one with that. You know, I don't see myself as overtly positive or overtly negative. I just try to look at things through a real kind of lens. A 24-year-old centre-back coming from Brighton to Arsenal, where we are in a stage of transition, where he's having to learn a new system, how to play with new teammates, a new manager, new environment. Newsflash, he's going to make mistakes. And it's going to be one thing to see the rivals coming up with the chatter and the memes and all that stuff. But from your own fan base, man, look, this guy is our player now. So we as a unit have to come together. I think what I've noticed with the Arsenal fan base is there is a split. There is a massive divide in it in a way that I've never seen. I mean, there's always been fractions, but I think the social media age has really heightened what a division in a fan base can look like. Your Arteta ins, your Arteta outs, your Arteta outs are always using certain young players, like Guendouzi going to say Arteta can't manage young players, even though most of our best young players and the best player of the team was a young player. I don't understand that. And look, I'm neither Arteta in or out. You know, for me, it's all about the Kroenkes, where the problem starts. But as a fan base, we need to not use this to prop up that agenda, which is happening a lot in our fan base at the moment. And that was something I really wanted to talk about with this transfer, because look, to say that a 24-year-old centre-back isn't going to make mistakes is naive and churlish. As you said with Harry Maguire, he came as a more established Premier League player. He came at an older age, I think, as well. So, you know, and he made mistakes as well. And now look at it, when he's gone to the Euros, You know, even all my social media platforms, I had to write a letter of apology to Maguire. I've had a dig over the years, and that's how it is. I'm like, look, now we can see people are starting to not talk about Maguire costing 80 million. I see this journey being very similar and very rocky, you know, and very tumultuous at parts.
Of course it is, but that's normal because all players make mistakes, all strikers miss chances, all goalkeepers let goals in they shouldn't. This is normal and natural. We've created this almost. I'm not even blaming him for it, but Virgil van Dijk's first 18 months at Liverpool is unprecedented. It was just perfect. There was no issues. There was nothing. I don't remember a bad moment, let alone a bad game. But between March of 2020 and his injury, I saw loads of mistakes, and he went through a little some rough and dodgy patches. This is very football players. Gunner King, thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Top man. Thank you. Thank you. We're gonna go to some more callers now. Get your super chats in, but before you get your super chats in, smash that like button. Let's get this past 500 likes, please, ladies and gentlemen. Next on the show, I'm going to go to Robbie Bowers. Robbie Bowers coming on. Who do you support, mate?
Man United.
Okay. What? Ben White just been signed by Arsenal. Give me your thoughts.
50 million. How much did we pay for Varane? 47?
34.
34. Nearly half the price. 27. 4 European Cups. Not worth the money at all. I never thought Maguire was worth the money, to be honest. He's turned me around. He's a good player. He's not worth 80 million. But as you've said, it makes every other English player more expensive. Maddison won't end up leaving because if you're going to pay 80 million for Maddison, how much are you going to pay for Maddison? Sorry. If Maguire costs 80 million, how much is Maddison going to cost?
Well, about 70 to 80 million pound. But by the looks of it, it's going to be there. It really is. You don't think Ben? I mean, so you don't think Ben White? You don't think over the next, say, 5 to 6 years, he can prove to be worth 50 million pounds for us?
Maybe, yeah. He's come from a good club. I'll give him that. I'm from Brighton myself. I'm living in Madeira now, but he's young. He only needs to make a couple of mistakes, and I mean, defenders start peaking at Varane's going to start peaking now, really. You know,
I hear what
to pay 50 million to pay. I mean, if you put it into perspective, we've just paid. What did you say? 37 million for
34.
for proper. That is a proper world class footballer, and he's only 27, 2 years older. He's got 4 European Cups, a World Cup. He's played next to Ramos since he was a teenager. Ferguson wanted him. I mean, just to compare that, English players are just well overpriced in my opinion. I mean,
I hear you on that, Robbie. I do. Listen, great call, mate. Thank you for coming on. A lot of people saying, a lot of people asking, are you Eric Cantona's brother?
My mates used to be. My nickname used to be Bestie, actually, after George Best. My hair was longer, but I've had the Eric Cantona thing. But I want to say one thing.
Did you make a habit of calling into shows not wearing a top?
Oh, it's Madeira. I'm in Madeira. It's 30 degrees.
I'm only winding you up, mate.
I know. I want to say two things. I love your show because you're very honest. I watch the others, and I find you're very how do you say it? You talk straight. I really like that. You know, I really like that about your show.
I appreciate.
And also, I want to say, I've been trying to get this phenomenon been said. Gardner, I think, is going to be. I heard Ollie saying in an interview that we don't need Rice because we've got better players already, and I think that player's going to be Gardner.
That's a big claim, mate. That's a big claim, Robbie.
He's same side as Keane.
He could do well, Robbie. I appreciate you coming on, mate, and we'll chat to you again soon. Top man, enjoy that sunshine. And
thanks for having me on, mate. Thanks for having me
on my TV. Top man, thank you. Next on the show, we're going to be getting Just Joe on, called big Leeds United fan, and they know all about Ben White. This will be an interesting one. Welcome back to the Terrace, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, brother. Thank you, mate. I've been sat there. I'm stewing, man. I'm stewing because I feel like Ben White's. He's like my boy. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I have to defend him. I've had to defend him for a while now. I think, especially from Arsenal fans, like discrediting the lad before he's even come through the door because he's not from the European circuit or whatever. I think the £50 million fee, it's standard. It's par for the course. Leeds United could have bought him for 30 million last summer, and he's now done a season in the Premier League, more than shown that he can do it in the division, and he's then got an England call-up. All these people saying, oh, he's a fifth choice, sixth choice English centre-back. One season, well, he's had one season in the Premier League. I guarantee you that that kid will be starting for England soon. He's the best centre-back I've seen at my football club since Rio Ferdinand. Now, admittedly, we've been away in the wilderness for a little bit, do you know what I mean? But I think the shade that's getting thrown at him, it's tough for me to hear. It's tough for me to hear. And I think 50 million is what it is, isn't it, man? We've seen, like you said, I agreed with what you're saying about like the Maddison and the Jack Grealish situation. And, you know, I think about that with Calvin. I'm thinking, look, there might come a time when he has to move on. At least we're going to get upwards of 60, 70, 80 million. It just is what it is. But I think for me, Ben White's a great signing for Arsenal. And listen, I'll never forget the first game at Leeds United. Look, I know it's a different division, but we just sold Pontus Jansson. And I know, it's levels, I get it. But he came in and he absolutely sold Jeju, sent him for a hot dog. Cruyffy turned, pinged it out to the left, Pablo Hernandez, and it was like, well, this kid can play. He's been at Newport, Peterborough, Leeds, Brighton, next step, Arsenal. Genuinely, you have got a real gem on your hands. He's a top centre-back, and you will see that. I say within 3 games, you know, you say give 10, whatever, you will see. Come on. Arsenal have had Rob Holding, you know, there's a lot made about the kid who was better than Fofana. Look, you know, he should be playing. I forget his name now, Terry. You'll have to remind me. But 2019 they paid him, and he's still not played a single game for the club. And people are saying he should be there. Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying.
You know, I hear what you're saying. Ben White, for me, look, I understand. Football's really weird at the minute, and I think some of it is. I think there's an element of it which is politically charged. That there seems to be, and it has been for 4 or 5 years on socials now, a real issue with English players in general. In one way, shape, or form, there's an issue with English players. People don't like the cost. Well, of course, they generally cost more because you're buying. There's something that Arsenal purchased today, which is a homegrown talent, which is something that's a requirement. A club have to have a certain amount of homegrown players in their team. Thus, it's one of the reasons why I think Man City, of all the players they're going for, are angling at Harry Kane's and Grealish, because they count as homegrown players. So they're of high caliber, but they're homegrown talent. That comes with a premium. People forget that there is a markup on quality English players, especially ones that are involved in the England squad or the future of the England squad, because there's national interest and image rights are worth more. And the look over the summer, the stock across the country that went up in particular players because of their performance for their nation. There was almost Rashford hasn't even got nothing to do with football. What Rashford has done off the pitch, I'm telling you this season, he ain't going to be back until October. He's going to get, I even think your boys would do it. I think Liverpool and Leeds United fans will clap Marcus Rashford for what he's done for feeding all those children across the country as an example. That's from a commercial standpoint. Do you know how valuable that is in money? You know, for brands that look at a club and say, we want to sponsor you. We're like, well, we've got Rashford, we've got Ben White, we've got Maguire, and you're paying for the potential of the branding element and the commercial element. And in England, English players often have more of a commercial upside than the majority of their foreign counterparts because of national interest. The fact this gets overlooked and then it gets turned into English tax. Well, it isn't English tax. There's a Pogba tax. When Pogba was purchased, there was a Pogba tax because of his commerciality. You know, anyone who's like Mbappe, there's an Mbappe tax. There's a Haaland tax. As great as they are as players, there's a tax on top of it because of who and what they are. You know, I'm telling you now, at their pomp and at their best, Gerrard and Lampard would have been more expensive than Paul Scholes, because Paul Scholes was worth nothing commercially because he weren't interested in any of that. So you're not buying the commercial side as well as that. David Beckham was one of the most wealthiest players to ever play football. But he weren't anywhere near. He was earning more money than Zidane. He weren't at Zidane's level. Why? Because of commerciality. It wasn't English tax. It wasn't Premier League bias tax. It was commercial tax. And people have got to understand that, and that's what you're buying. So, but when you factor in that, and so I do find a lot of the English players get a rough ride. They get slammed before they're given an opportunity and the chance. And there's two things that stand out to me here. As you know, I'm not Bielsa's biggest fan in the sense of I think people talk about him. They say things like he's one of the greatest managers around, and I reserve. I don't class Wenger as a great manager. He didn't win back-to-back league titles or a Champions League. I have a very specific group that go into the great category. But I like what I hear about Bielsa. I love the way his teams play football. I love the anecdotal stories people tell of his behavior around town, how he treats people, how he talks. I think that's fucking phenomenal. But Bielsa wanted him. Jurgen Klopp wanted him. I remember being on a stream with Grizz Khan and all the boys on LFC Day Trip, and they were raving about him, and he's been on our radar, and they want him. Now, if those kind of managers are looking and circulating, I'm not listening to Arsenal fans' opinions. I'm going to wait. Yes, Rashford put him on his backside. How many defenders? I've seen Rio Ferdinand put on his backside by some of the world's best attackers. One of the world's best inside forwards putting you on your bum.
Yo, Virgil van Dijk got put on his bum the other day, didn't he, in pre-season? These things happen, do you know what I mean?
Honestly, that's literally, have you noticed though? That's the only clip they've got is what Rashford. Like, it's crazy, bro. Like, legitimately, the level of like annoyance that people have towards Ben White. And I heard someone say the other day, why are we buying England's fourth choice? Why are we buying their fourth choice centre back? It's like, but he won't be fourth choice for long. He'll be in that first team soon, and he's kind of fourth choice behind. Yes, I actually think in that by the end of the season he'll be in front of Tyrone Mings. There's only Maguire and John Stones that are in front of him, and you're not buying John Stones or Maguire. You're not able to get them, so you can't go and buy the best centre back in England because he plays for Man United. So it's honestly all the things I've seen people say negative about Ben White. None of them stack up. None of them make any sense on a footballing level in any way, shape, or form. No one's been able to phone this show that don't like him and been able to point out the glaring flaws in his game. And by the way, at 50 million quid over what? So the next 7-8 years, it's very cheap. It's very cheap, mate. It's very cheap. I assume by that you think he's going to be a hit. Do you think he's going to be a hit at Arsenal?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think he'll go. He's going to go to the very top. Yeah, 100%. I think, he's brilliant, mate. Honestly, I'm gutted he's not at my football club, but it is what it is. We weren't willing to pay the fees, but nah, I feel like I have to defend him, Terry. That's all. But listen, like I said, 3, 4, 5 games in, I won't need to do that anymore because Arsenal fans will be waxing lyrical about him, man. Honestly,
yeah, I think 2 or 3 games in, you're going to start seeing like Nesta and Desai comparison. Tony Adams reborn and all that, mate. Listen, I appreciate you coming on, and good luck, of course, at the content award.
Keep doing what you're doing, Terry. You're a legend, man. Thank you.
Lovely, mate. I probably won't see you before then, but I'll definitely see you in October at the content awards, mate. So be good fun. Top man. Cheers, Joe. Thanks, mate. All the best. Thank you. If you want to phone up and have your say on Ben White, if you've got something negative to say, feel free to phone up and say it. You're not going to get shot down. I want to hear from you. We want to gauge your opinions, but smash that like button. We're just talking James Maddison. Is he coming next? Granit Xhaka being offered a new deal. Arsenal special this afternoon for you all. Next on the show, I'm going to go to Mazzy. Mazzy's been sitting there waiting. He's on the show now. Who do you support, mate?
I support Arsenal Football Club, man.
Lovely, mate. Give me your take. £50 million on Ben White. What are you saying, brother?
I feel it's a good deal because at the end of the day, he's English, bro. And considering the fact he was in the England squad for the Euros, I mean, it's ought to count for a lot. You get. So I feel, yeah, this is a good deal. Yeah. Kudos to Arteta and Edu for making this happen.
Yeah, listen, I think it's an excellent piece of business, and I would be encouraged if I was an Arsenal fan and excited about what Ben White can bring and the progression that he's going to have and everything else. What do you want to see next from Arsenal, though? What do you want to see next, my friend? Is it, getting rid of some of the dead wood? Is it a midfielder, attacking midfielder? What's the next most important position in your opinion?
Well, with the news that just broke, which is the new contract that was offered to Granit Xhaka, I feel that too is a good piece of business that is, I think, looked down upon by majority of the Arsenal fan base. You get, but I feel it is good because it will then give us the financial freedom to go after the Cams, the Maddisons, and the top big name number 10s, which we know we are looking out for. So I think the next step should be for us to go for number 10 with the Maddison mode. You get that too would be a very good piece of business from Arsenal if they're able to do that.
I agree. Mazzy, my brother, thank you very much for coming on the show and having your say. Really appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. I'm really grateful for you having me on the show, man. I'm a first-time caller here, and I mean, it's an honor, talking on your show. Really, I'm a big fan of yours.
I appreciate that, brother. And listen, mate, the
honor
is
on the good job.
Thank you, and the honor's all mine, mate. I mean that sincerely. Top man. Thank you very much, my friend. Take care. Speak to you soon.
Yeah. All right,
Thank you. We're going to be getting man like Pavon soon. CFC Chats is on his way and a few others. But of course, we can't do a big breaking Arsenal show without the GOAT of Arsenal content. The best Arsenal YouTuber on planet Earth is with us now, ladies and gentlemen. He's an absolute sensation. He really is. We're going to get him on in a few minutes. To come and have his say. But as I said earlier on, we want to make sure none of you miss any more notifications from the Football Terrace when we go live, etc. So we have a brand new group chat that's been set up via Telegram. The link for that is inside our description below. Go and get yourself signed up to that right about now, please, ladies and gentlemen. Really, really important to us that you go and that you go and get that done for us. It truly, truly is. In terms of who's coming on the show next, I know who know who this man is. Now, I know a lot of you know who this man is. We've got some exclusive footage of him just after Ben White was announced. Exclusive footage is here. Here it is. Ben White's announced, and look at these skills. Look at these skills. Look at the dance moves. Honestly, dance is like my uncle, bruv. Look at it, gals doing. Look at it. It's a shimmy, and it's this. I don't know what that move is. I don't know. There he is. But Gal is now with us, ladies and gentlemen, ready to come on and have his say. How you doing?
God, I can't believe you, bro. Oh man, that's funny. Nah, man. You know what that was? That was when I was quarantining in the hotel, and I was bored as hell, so I just started breaking out moves. But yeah, what are you up to, Terry?
Legitimately. You should do more of that stuff on socials because that was entertaining. That was entertaining. But Ben White's in. There seems to be some anger in the Arsenal fan base, some salt coming from rival fans. But give me your take on the deal now that it's done, dusted, and over the line.
Respectfully, Benjamin William White was not my first signing that I would have got in this summer. I would have gone for a right back, a central midfielder, central attacking midfielder. But now that he's in, I'm just going to ask you, Terry, who's the best center back in the world currently?
I would still say it's Virgil van Dijk. Personally, I'll say Virgil van Dijk's the best. If we take him away for a minute because he had a year, practically a season out, I think you've got to look at Ramos's, Diaz's, Varane's, Maguire's.
Okay, and if they're going for around 75 million when they got to their respective clubs, and we're getting Benjamin White at the age of 23 for 50 million, who's that highly touted, and with the English tax, it kind of makes sense financially. I'm not asking this question saying, oh, he is the best center back in the world. I'm asking because if those players are going for those kind of prices, Benjamin White going for 50 million, I'm kind of trying to making sense of it, because the club understands that just last year he was touted to go for 30 million to Liverpool or Leeds for 25 million recently, and Brighton didn't sell at that point. And now coming again with a year of Premier League experience, with the way he can progress the ball, what he can offer us as a replacement for David Luiz, he will offer us more than what his some of the money that we're paying for him. And also with the English player, Terry, we know this. Once you buy an English center back or buy an English player, you don't have to now go and spend that money on another English talent. You can bring through your academy players. You can fill the quota with this signing. And in the future, we can now spend less money on foreign acquisitions, because we now have a spot filled with an English player. So it fits the need. It fits the financially, it makes sense to a certain degree, because we are buying an English player. And when it comes to comparing him to Varane and everybody else, I just think it's silly. I'm just happy with the signing. I'm happy it's finally done, Terry, because it took forever. I felt like it was going to be one of those situations where we sign a player near the end of the window, but luckily it's over and done with. Hopefully we see him on Sunday versus Chelsea in the preseason game. And anybody who's upset, Terry, the reason why they're upset is because rumors came out today Granit Xhaka was going to be offered a new deal. That's why people are upset. Not because of Ben White, in my opinion.
Yeah, I understand that. On the best centre backs around, I did forget a few names. A few popped to mind. Bonucci is in there as well. Marquinhos. Like there are a number of players out that are in that list. And listen, I mean, this is when football fans cry about the Granit Xhaka situation. That makes me weep. It doesn't make me weep to see people sad. It makes me weep to see people. And I want to say this in the right way. It makes me weep to see people still fail to understand about protecting assets at clubs. There's Man United fans, there's some that have moaned, why would you give a player that we want to leave a new deal? Why would you extend their contracts? Well, because we're trying to get a price for them. You're trying to protect that asset with Granit Xhaka, because if he stays and has a decent season, then it puts more pressure on Roma to spend the following year. Like, it's just one of them things. You also don't want to lose him for free in a couple of years' time. So it makes sense. And there's no guarantee it's going to be accepted. You also got to understand it could act as a little bit of a shit from Roma's point of view to say, let's give the extra. I read somewhere there's like a £5 million differential. It could trigger them into doing that. And Arsenal fans have just got to remain patient and assess things at the end of it. But there does seem to still be a lot of anger because there seems to have not been a marquee signing yet. But I look at Ben White as a marquee signing. When you drop £50 million, it can't be called anything other than a marquee signing. What's next, though, in your opinion, in terms of who you think's going to come in and who do you need?
What's next, Terry? What's next is we're going to be chasing for a central midfield partner for Thomas Partey. Lokonga is not the center midfielder that we were planning to get in as the main center midfielder. We're also going to be trying to target an central attacking midfielder. James Maddison is still highly spoken about. Odegaard is also being spoken about consistently. I'm not too keen on Odegaard coming in. Awar is still a possibility, but his brother is making it difficult. Until we sell one or two of our four right backs, being either Bellerin or Ainsley Maitland-Niles, I don't see us getting a right back. And the goalkeeper situation, it's hit or miss. I don't know what's going on with the goalkeeper situation specifically. We've been linked to Ramsdale, Johnston. It turns out Onana, we've never actually contacted Ajax, or it could just be Ajax protecting their asset by saying no one has contacted them or something like that. But right now, Terry, it looks like midfield is the main focus. Everything else comes secondary.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I think midfield is that key area for you, and it's working out who you can get. It's so many things. This is where, again, Arsenal fans have got to remain patient. Neves is one of your main targets. Neves isn't going to make a decision until he knows what Manchester United are doing. That's the long and the short of it. Man United don't know what they're doing until they resolve the Pogba situation. Until Pogba's back at Man United and he's sat down in front of Ollie and the board and they have in-depth conversation about what's going on. So you just think of one of your transfers there's that situation. You've got Basuma, where there's been contact from Liverpool. He's got to wait. It's no disrespect to Arsenal, but Basuma isn't going to decide until he knows what Liverpool are doing. Liverpool don't know what they're doing until they've got some players out of the door. So it's Arsenal almost stuck in this situation now of, maybe let's just say Basuma's one for choice one, Neves choice number two, and Awar's choice number three. At this point, with a month to go, it would be stupid of Arsenal to go for Awar now, when Awar's not linked heavily to anyone else other than Liverpool, by the way. it'd be stupid to sign Aouar, and then in 5 days, 3 days after that, Liverpool secure Sao Niguez, and then Basuma's left there, your number one choice, twiddling his thumbs. You'd be like, oh, if we wait 3 more days, we'd have our number one guy. So that's why I say Arsenal fans right now, I know everyone wants deals done right here, right now. And if you were a Champions League team, if you were fighting for the title every year, it would be a lot easier to go in hard for these players because it's easier for them to make those choices. And I stand by it. I've said it all summer. I think Arsenal have done impressive business is in their process, and who they've signed has been very good. I think Tavares and Lokonga especially, excellent players. Ben White's going to kill it. And you will, in my view, sign at least 2 more players, a midfielder and attacker this summer. And it's going to be a very good window for Arsenal.
Terry, you still think we're going to have a very ambitious transfer window and have like 5 players coming in of a total over 150 to 200 million?
Well, the 200 million was the top end if you could land all the targets. What Dean told us on the Done Deal show was between 100 and 150 million pounds was always what Arsenal were looking to spend. You're in and around 90 million already on 3 players. If you sign Neves and Tammy Abraham, that puts you over 150 million pounds spend. So remember, like, we don't talk on the Terrace about net spend because net spend is how much you spent on players. So if you land Tammy Abraham for 40 and Neves for 35, that takes you up to 165 million pound. So do you get what I'm saying? Your next signings you're looking at, if you can land them, are all players that are 35 to 50 million pound players. And in Maddison's case, 70 odd. So let's just say you landed Maddison and Tammy. That's 110 million pounds. Actually, sorry, I'm a liar. That's 120 million. You had 120 million to what you've already spent, and you're nearly on 200 million pound. In fact, you're on over 200 million pounds. So
I don't want a taller version of Eddie Nketiah and Tammy Abraham. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying you do. I'm just giving you the example of people you're linked to. By the way, if you pulled off Martinez, now you are bidding for Martinez. You are. I know the Italians say they won't leave, but the point is you're trying to spend the money. What I would say about, I'm not defending Dean Jones, I'm just putting it out there. If Arsenal can't land these deals, that isn't the journalist's fault or your fault or my fault. That's Arsenal for not getting it closed off. But you're trying to spend the money. Like if tomorrow your bid for Maddison and Tammy, or Maddison and somebody and Basuma are accepted, you're well over 150 million pounds. You're 90 million pound into your summer already, and you will spend a lot more money. I think if you can land.
I don't think we're going to get a striker. I think Lacazette's going to stay. I just don't see how we're going to get rid of him off our books this summer. If Atletico Madrid do come in for him and they offer us something, I would take it in a heartbeat. When it comes to the striker situation, I think it's just going to stay the same going into next season. And even if we did sell Lacazette, I want to focus on that central attacking midfield. If Grealish is going for 100 million, get Maddison in for 70 million. I don't really care. I just don't want Odegaard. And if Odegaard is the alternative to James Maddison, call me crazy. I would rather get Pereira from West Bromwich Albion for 25 million than get Odegaard.
I hear you on that. If you put in the comments and saying Terry, it's 75, not 90, cool. Then we're deliberating here over 15 million. The point still remains. If you sign Basuma and Maddison tomorrow, those two collectively are costing you over 100 million pounds. It's therefore 175 million. If you were to sign Tammy and Basuma collectively, that's another 70 to 80 million. That puts you near that 150 mark. Like, the point I'm making to people is all of the next targets Arsenal are looking at are 35 to 70 million pound players each. If you land 2 more of your 4 or 5 targets, you break that 150 barrier. You're trying, like, the point is, I'm not one to defend clubs often, but you're trying to spend over 150 million. Stop like debating exactly what you spent. And this is the thing I say to Arsenal fans.
I'm panicking. That's why.
I wouldn't say, I'm not even like you. Don't ask your club to spend. And then when you do spend all your time on socials trying to play down how much money you've spent. This is the thing with football fans. Like Man United, I don't care how much we spend. But what you'll find is someone will say, man, you spent 75 million on Sancho. Oh, it was actually 73. It's like, who cares? I care about signing the quality of players. So Arsenal fans, don't beg to spend and then try and drive the price down of what you're spending. You're going to spend over 150 million pounds if you land your targets. Be proud of your club for doing that. Igal, great call as always, mate. Thanks for coming on, brother. And I'll speak to you again soon. Top man. Thank you. Next on the show, we're going to get CFC chats on in a moment. Before that, Pav is here. Pav is a Man United fan, full disclosure. Before we jump into that, smash that like button. Get this past 500 likes. Ben White is an Arsenal player. Pav is here. What you saying, mate?
I said before that I didn't want him at United just for the reasons that we probably wanted someone who was ready. Ben White for Arsenal makes sense. I said before, I think if his career goes the way you probably expect and other people expect, I don't think he'll be there for more than 2 or 3 years. I think someone like a Man City will come and pinch him. I haven't really watched him a lot, if I'm being honest. The only times I've only seen him is when we've played him or one of the other bigger teams have played against Brighton. But he does look like a good player. He's still young, got a lot to learn. But coming into Arsenal, I think he's probably maybe the second best centre back they've got behind. I don't know. Do you know what? I think they're Arsenal centre backs. I don't even know who's probably the best. But he is a good player, and I think it's a good bit of business for Arsenal. The price tag, like you've said this many times, and other people have come on the show and said it many times, it doesn't matter how much you pay for him. You can't moan. If a club wants 50, 80 million and you want that player so bad, you're going to have to pay the money. It doesn't matter if he's worth it or not. We've learned that with other players coming to our club and other people's clubs. Like Leicester, your Leicesters, your Brightons, they will demand big money. And they turned down, I think it was upwards of £30 million from Leeds last year. And that's like really good from what Brighton done by turning that money down, because they knew another year later playing in the Prem, his price will shoot up. And it has. They've got an extra 20 million for Ben White. And hopefully he does good. But like I said, I don't think he'll be there for more than 2 or 3 years if his career goes the way it goes. And then Fabricio's just tweeted about Xhaka as well. Looks like he's going to be staying. They've offered him a big contract, way more than what Roma are offering him. I don't understand it because the player wants to leave. I can understand why with the stuff in the past that's happened. But yeah, Arsenal taking a lot of risks. Hope for Arsenal fans it pays off, but it's going to be a big task for them to break into that top 4, because it's a bit weird how they've never really spent this money before to try and improve the teams that they had in the past. But now they have no European competition. It's like they're just throwing loads of money out there. And if they get Maddison or another player or two and spend upwards 200 million, you have to ask questions like, why didn't they do this before? And why now when you've got no European competition? But yeah, I mean, Arsenal fans chill. Let the guy come in.
The answer to that, Pav, is they've got to try and get back into it. And if they don't spend and improve this squad, they're never making it back into Europe. that is the long and the short of it. They have to now spend as a football club. And like I said earlier, people can call me a cronky prop if they want. I don't care. Like I've got, my skin is too thick to ever be impacted or affected by that. My view is very, very simple on this matter. You can't scream at your club to spend, and then when you're spending, start trying to banter fans on snap at people bantering your lines. And actually, it wasn't 80 million; it was 78.5. It's like, just be proud your club's spending money or not. Like, I see it all the time by Arsenal fans. We've got to spend, and then they spend, and it's like, well, that's too much. It's like, no, let the club do what they've got to do, man. It's
Can I
crazy.
make one quick point before I go? How fans react to the price tags of English players? Maybe as fans, go put some pressure on your clubs to bring in homegrown talent, to build them up, make them better from a young age, and your club wouldn't have to go out and spend so much money on English talent. It's all right having all these European players come in, but if you're moaning about the price tags of English players and your clubs are buying it, maybe put some pressure on your clubs to go bring in the youth and make them better, because otherwise you're going to see these massive price tags, and these lower clubs know that big clubs will come in and pay big money. So yeah,
Mate, I hear you on that completely, mate. I really, really do. Listen, Pab, thanks for coming on, mate, and
no
having
worries, man.
thank you very, very much indeed. Next on the show, Jess is here with us to have her say. New hairstyle as well, looking very, very nice indeed. Jess, what you doing? What you saying?
What are we talking about? Ben White? Yeah.
Yes, just signed him.
I know. I mean, it's not like we didn't know, you know. I don't know why people get so hung up on like the actual like announcement. We already knew he was coming. Like, I think the most interesting part is that he got the number 4. So now people are talking about Saliba. So I think that's the most interesting part about it. We have to watch, like, kind of wait and see how he fits in, see if he actually makes a difference. But I think this kind of spells out maybe the future of Saliba is not actually at Arsenal. So it's just interesting. I found that to be the most interesting part.
I'll be honest with you, Jess. Like, I got shot down by Arsenal fans maybe a month ago when this Ben White news first came in, because it coincided with Saliba going back out on loan. And what I found very interesting is I misread a report I misread about 5 reports. So that's not true. I read the reports right, that there was no obligation to buy.
Mhm.
And the fact that Arsenal insisted that every single journalist like stressed the fact there was no obligation to buy, that was for me the sign that that there's no future for him. Because if they try and push him out there into the market now, knowing he's got no future at Arsenal, you lower the valuation of that player. Nobody's willing to buy him right now because nobody's convinced that he's going to be a good enough centre-back, because Arsenal have purchased him and this will be a 3rd season out on loan, right? Like, it's not a good sign. Very few players that spend more than 1 season out on loan ever make it at their parent club anyway. So if I was an Arsenal fan right now, I would legitimately start to resign myself to the fact that William Saliba may never, ever play for your football club. And I think that's fair. And, you know, of course, if Arteta's asked a question in the press conference, he'll give that usual answer. He's part of our plans. We're developing him, giving him time. But I've never seen a player go out 3 years on the bounce on loan and make it at their parent club. I can't think of an example where that's happened. And someone might throw in someone's name like Loftus-Cheek, but that's the prime example of it not working. It's like, I'm talking about come back and be a mainstay. But you're right. In terms of Ben White, you know, how good a signing do you think he'll be for Arsenal, Jess?
Well, I mean, I think he's going to be good. I do. I think he's going to be good. I'm convinced that he'll improve us, you know, which is important. But it also depends on who's going to be standing next to him. You know, the defense is really like a unit, isn't it? You know, so whoever's standing next to him on the right-hand side, that right back is also really important. You know, what kind of right back is that going to be? So individually, I think he's going to improve us. I think he's really good on the ball, which is something that I hadn't really paid a lot of attention to, especially when he was at Brighton, because I think the way that they played didn't really show it as much. But if you go back and watch how he played at Leeds under Bielsa, I thought, wow, he's a real modern center back. Yes, he's not great in the air, but Arsenal are trying to be a possession-based team, so that's not really why we're getting him. So I think in terms of, you know, playing the ball out of the back, being comfortable receiving the ball from Bernd Leno, who's not great on the ball, it'll give maybe a little bit more of solidity and confidence to that back line, help Gabriel as well, because he can be quite rash and a little bit nervous, and ultimately get Rob Holding out of our back line, you know, which is good. So I do think he's going to be a good signing. How big of a difference he's going to make, I think it's hard for one player to just revolutionize? Say the word. What is it?
Revolutionize.
That's it. The entire team. So I wouldn't expect that, especially when your midfield kind of still looks the same and all that kind of stuff. But I think he's going to do a good job. I'm excited. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you. I think he's going to be a tremendous signing. And as Pav said before, quite a few of Arsenal's players have looked for a double-edged swords this year, in the sense of if they work out and become brilliant players, but Arsenal don't improve, you'll be able to sell them for a big profit. If they do improve you and they're brilliant, then you're going to have some excellent players on your hands in the types of Ben White and Lokonga. Just some breaking news from Fabrizio in the last 10 minutes. So Arsenal have offered the deal. They've offered a pay increase. So a pay increase more than what Roma were proposing in their contract. Now, that is still going to infuriate Arsenal fans. Why? I still know. I mean, it's just obvious why. Because they are going to look at how much value they're going to lose in Xhaka. So the offer that was made for Xhaka was like 12 million euros plus 3, so around 15 million euros. That's going to drop in half by the end of next summer. They'll lose 5, 6, 7 million euros in his valuation going into next summer. So if you give him a pay increase of 1 million a year, 2 million a year, you are still taking a risk, but you maintain that value in the player by extending his contract by 2 years. It's going to cost you a little bit of money up front. But if next summer his value stays the same, 15 to 20 million euros, and then somebody bids that, you're still better off financially. That's why these deals are done. There's always a risk that no one buys him, and then you end up paying him more money than initially thought for 2 or 3 years. But also, he's not the worst central midfielder in the world either. So I understand why Arsenal have done it. It's a risk, but they believe it to be less of a risk than the deal falling through. I still think you might end up seeing a little slightly bigger offer come in from Roma because Xhaka doesn't really want to be there himself. So watch this on that one. Watch this space. I mean, would you throw your toys out your pram, Jess? Would you get angry, get your knickers in a twist if Xhaka signed a new deal?
I mean, it's not ideal, especially when you're linked with other players that you feel like are better or would improve you, so it's kind of like going back to it. But no, not necessarily. I think my biggest thing would be, then how are you going to improve the other position, the number 10? At that point, if you're not going to improve on Xhaka, then you need to do something else. So if you tell me that we start off next season or the transfer window closes and our midfield is ESR, Granit Xhaka, and Thomas, we have not improved, so don't expect better results. I would expect them to do something big to make up for it. But I kind of tend to agree with you. I'm still about 70-30. 70% he's going to go. Roma will do something. I mean, until Roma is actively looking for somebody else, I still think they're in for Granit, and unless he puts pen to paper, I still think there's a chance. So I'm not super worried about it. It just doesn't look good, especially when you're talking to people in the fan base and they're capitulating. It doesn't feel good, but I still think he'll go.
Yeah, but some of your fan base is a bit like the Man United fan base. These people are they are proper snowflakes. They melt at the you know what I mean? Like, touch and when you touch a snowflake and it just melts straight away in your hand. These people melt at the first sign of trouble. They're gone. They're throwing their toys out their pram. They really are. Igal's going to rejoin us now on the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a few more of your calls as well. Igal's here with us now, along with doing that thing. We're gonna take a few more calls in a moment here. But just wanted to get your reaction, Igal, to the news from Fabrizio Romano that a pay increase has now been offered to Granit Xhaka to keep him at the club.
This is normal. This is normal. Whenever you are trying to get rid of a player, you do whatever you can to get to put pressure on the team that's trying to buy them. If you don't have anything to use against the team. Why? Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna lose my train of thought because I am frustrated by this, but at the same time, I kind of get why they would put this out. They would put this out for journalists to understand and put pressure on Roma. And I'm still 100% sure that we will try to find a way to sell him this summer. But this is just a normal step to protect your asset, 1, and 2. He's probably not going to even be an Arsenal player next year because he's already told Arsenal he wants to leave. He's not back for preseason yet. He came back early to get the deal moved. And also, I'm going to look at Instagram and I'm going to see every single time Xhaka puts an Instagram out, you got Jose Mourinho is the first comment. So I'm going to read into that and say, you know what, he's pretty much done and dusted. It's just nothing has been agreed between the two clubs.
I hear you on that. I think it's going to be an interesting one to see how it kind of plays out, what happens, and everything else in that space. I'm definitely intrigued. Excuse me to say the least. I can't find my mouse because I've got 4 computers in front of me. You ever done that where you lose your mouse on the screen? You can't find it. I found it now. There it is. We can go to some more calls here. We're going to get a Chelsea fan on now with us here. CFC Chats is here. Been waiting a while. Thank you. What do you want to say about the signing of Ben White, my friend?
I want to say in a Chelsea perspective. Oh, also, first of all, good evening. I know I say it every time I get on here. Just want to make sure the chat realizes. But as a Chelsea kind of viewpoint, I said this today on stream that we look at it as obviously a horrible signing because we're signing people like Kounde for 25 million and others. But if you're an Arsenal fan, you got to really think that they're not going to make big signings this season because unfortunately at the moment they're not the biggest club at the moment. That's why Ben White coming in is the only sign they're really going to pull off, because he's the only one really wanting to come. They're not going to get signings like Koulibaly, or a lot of people saying the Florentina centre-back Cristiano or something. I forgot his name. But ultimately, you know, they're not going to have too many signings coming this year. So I think Ben White is a good signing for them. 50 million, in my opinion, too much. But obviously, as I just said, I'm a Chelsea supporter who were getting other players like for 25 million. So I wouldn't see that as a good deal.
I mean, do you know what it comes down to? Somebody said to me in here, I want to speak about this from a Man United fan's point of view. He's not, but this is a question that Twisted Bubba said. Terry, would you be happy if you were an Arsenal fan? So that's a loaded question. Whatever you answer, you have to answer it in this way. Contextually, yes. And I'll break it down. Am I happy? Would I be happy with where Arsenal are as a football club right now? No. Why would I be happy when 15 years ago or so we were doing Invincibles, and now we're struggling to sign out our targets? We're well out. We're not even in Europe, let alone the conference or the Europa League. Like, of course, they're not happy with where they find themselves. But in terms of this is an isolated summer, the process and the speed, the diligence, and the backwork being done to sign players is very, very good. Every business person related to football understands this. I don't really care what ex-pros and fans think about the process element, because they don't understand it. They are looking at it from a fan perspective and not a business point of view. It's been impeccable the way they're operating. The players have signed, I think, are all very, very talented. Lokonga could be an absolute superstar. Ben White's brilliant. And they're trying to sign midfielders and strikers, all of which I think can improve Arsenal. I do think Tammy Abraham is better than Lacazette, as an example. So you have to look at it from that point of view. If they don't end the summer with Basumas and Neveses, maybe a Maddison or an Awar, then you look at it and go, oh, I didn't quite get where we wanted to be. But Arsenal are trying to operate better. Arsenal are trying to fix the problem that they found themselves in and get themselves back up the table. Then you have to have a realization. I'm sorry to say this. I'm not having a pop at a gal or Jess here. You have to have a realization of where the hell are we now? So my expectations need to be tapered in the sense of course, it's hard to get Neves. Of course, it's hard to convince Basuma, because we're not. The same reason I'm upset with where Arsenal are is the same very reason why it's hard to land these players. You can't be upset with where you are as a football club, but expect you to operate like you're still at the top of the tree. Life doesn't work. If I'm a millionaire and then I'm broke, I can't eat in the same restaurants. I can't buy the same cars. I can't wear the same clothes. Definitely the same women are not attracted to me. It's the way it works, right? In that all these things are a knock-on effect. And that, so to answer your question, would I be happy? Overall, as an Arsenal fan, no. But you've got to start again. You've got to build yourself up. Arsenal are the equivalent of a very successful business person whose business has failed and have gone bankrupt, but they're on the way back up. And you can't start that new life off and operate in the same way as you did when your previous business was at the peak of its powers. It's going to take time to get there. So that for me is what I would say to, like, Arsenal fans. If you're being bantered or you're seeing negative Arsenal fans, look at perspective and look at what you're trying to achieve. Now, if 2 or 3 years time you're still in the same position, then you can distrust whatever this new process is. But you have to give it time, because for me, you've got no other choice. That's what I would say. I don't know what do you make of that, Jess? Did I break it down well, or am I chatting pure cap?
No, that's fine. I mean, nobody wants to hear it, but we haven't been ran well. So like, I don't know why people think things are going to turn around in like 5 minutes. I think a lot of people are just overdoing it. Same old Arsenal, we're the same. Nothing we've done this window feels the same. You know, we may not be where we want to be at, we're not even at the end of the window. I would just say, wait and see. If we end the window and all we have is Ben White, then maybe you can be upset. But still, I mean, the last couple windows have to let you know, like, if you were paying attention, that we are doing things differently. It's just going to be difficult because, again, we're not in Europe. We're not as attractive. So it's going to be harder. We're going to have to convince people, have more options, because some things are going to fall through. So for me, it just is what it is. Like, we have to start from ground one. But at the same time, you guys have to realize that, like, we have a lot of young players coming up in the next couple of years. If we're able to keep them, the value of the squad will go up and we'll be in a different position. Right now, our squad value is so low. And that's a big reason why we're not able to capitalize on things in the market. So I'm not really, I think Terry's saying the truth. It's not nice to hear, but it's the reality. So yeah.
But Terry, you were saying Basuma. I think Basuma would rather come to Arsenal, honestly, than stay at Brighton. And even though that Arsenal's reputation isn't that high at the moment, I think he'll rather come to Arsenal than stay at Brighton. Same as Ben White's situation.
He would, but if you think about just two things, Ben White was really up for it. So Ben White wanted to go. You have to look at this from a multitude of angles. Liverpool have made some loose inquiries for him this summer, first and foremost. But also, if Ben White commits to Arsenal today on a 5-year deal and it doesn't improve, Basuma is stuck there for a while. He isn't as young as everyone thinks. He ain't 20. He's 24, 25 years old. So, again, I know Jess won't like hearing this, and I'm really sorry, Jess, but he has to be careful that he doesn't commit to Arsenal now and then regrets it and spends 2 or 3 years at a club that just isn't moving forward, where if he stays at Brighton for maybe one more year, maybe that move to Man United, to Liverpool, to City, somewhere else that's thriving at that point is on. So it's a lot of transfer decisions are really important when it comes to players. Pogba's in that situation now. He's what I read today, and I believe we had Rob that was on, and Rob knows this stuff. He's really happy at Man United, but his dream move is to go and play for Real Madrid. But Paris Saint-Germain look like they're ready to strike for that Champions League. He's at a crossroads. What do I do? If he signs a new deal at Man United and we don't get any better, he can't leave for the rest of his career pretty much, unless someone pays colossal money, and they won't because of the age that he's at. If he signs for PSG, he stops himself, by the way, being able to go to both. If he signs for Man United or goes PSG, he never gets to, if he goes PSG especially, he'll never get to play for his dream club of Real Madrid. But if he goes to PSG, there might be a sense of they don't win that Champions League, and then Man United go on to do something brilliant, and then Real Madrid go back to being a powerhouse. He's missed out. Like he has to make, like, it's a tough decision, and I don't feel sorry for him because either of those decisions make him a very wealthy, famous, happy man. But do you understand my point? Like, it isn't just about Arsenal, but it's about you and your career again. Is Arsenal right for me at this point as well? Ben
Terry,
White,
you know how I look at it?
Go on, mate.
I look at it from the perspective of both sides, and I say to myself, I want a player who's willing to come in and has the character to say, I want to get Arsenal back to the top. I want to help this team get back to where they were once, like, and have the character to say, I have the ego and the character to strive for greatness, and everybody I have, get on my back. I'm taking you to greatness. And I feel like that's the kind of player that we need to go get. We need to get the people with the mentality that we're going to do what we have to do, regardless what the obstacles are. Like when we had Henry, he didn't care what everybody else thought about him. He didn't care what everybody else said. He said, you know what? Wait, we're going to see. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do on the pitch. And that's the kind of person I want. And that's why when we're targeting guys like James Maddison, I get excited because I can see that he has that winning mentality and he wants to strive for greatness. And as much as you guys want to talk about Leicester being a better situation than us, this is a guy going from winning his first FA Cup to a team who has 13 FA Cups. So it just goes to show you the step up that he's been making.
Yeah, it's an interesting one indeed. Listen, CFC chats, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Appreciate that, Matt. Top man, thank you. Moderators, respect the platform and the channel. Otherwise, you won't be moderators. That's all I've got to say to you right there, people. Who's coming on next? Who am I picking? I'm gonna go with. I'm really intrigued to see who this is. Really, Man Like Terry is their username. What are you saying?
Come on.
What's your name?
No, it is. Oh, my name's Shinedu. I'm Nigerian.
Nice one, brother. Thanks for. I thought it was going to be Terry for a minute.
No. I used that to bait you. You know, I just baited you hard. with that name. So,
love it, mate. What are you here to say, my friend? Who do you support, first of all? Who do you support, brother?
Man United.
Lovely. What do you make of Ben White to Arsenal?
Ben White to Arsenal. In all honesty, I will just say, like, Arsenal fans should not be like too worried because that's just the way the market is now. Players are going for a high price. Even lucky you didn't get it from like 80 million, like how we got Harry Maguire. So he's quite decent, ball playing centre back, like good at passing out of the back. I don't know about his defensive abilities, but very good at playing out of the back. Well, we'll see, but first match, that's where all the criticism starts. Like Varane, we just signed Varane. If any mistakes in the first match, the criticism starts. You get what I'm saying?
No, listen, you're right. I mean, if Ben White in the opening game, like is it Brentford you play on the
Come
Friday?
on. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
man like Tony, bro, man like Tony puts it through his legs and puts it into the top corner, I
It's
can't wait to
so
see.
annoying.
Imagine, Jess, like literally,
That's not going to happen. Don't even try to speak it into existence. It's not gonna
literally
happen.
puts it through Ben White's legs, top corner. Do you know what I mean? Lokonga comes on, just breaks down into tears, missing his mum. Do you know what I mean? Like this is.
Wait, Terry, I want to say one more thing.
Yeah, go on, mate.
One more thing. Yeah, I've been thinking, like, do you think we can win the title with Oli?
So, can Man United win the title with Oli? I'm still not.
Come on.
No, I have to be like really true to myself, right?
Because
go on, bro.
Because me personally, I think we have the squad. The only thing stopping us is just a good manager. Like we need a proper manager.
That's my thought, my bro. I'm skeptical that Oli can do it.
Okay, I want to ask like the Arsenal fans: are you scared of Man United? Are you scared of Man United? Like the Arsenal fans on the screen, Jess and the girl. Are you scared of Man United this season?
Scared of what? Like, what do you mean? Scared that you guys might win the title? Or?
Yeah.
I mean, no, like, not really. I mean, that's not how I live my life. I'm not going to sit around and I'm not going to cry if you guys win it, you know, because you guys have a better squad and you should be challenging. I mean, it will hurt a little bit if you did. But am I like scared? It's the last time you guys scored a goal on us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I'm not scared going head to head, but like if you guys won the title, it would suck a little bit, especially because this one here, Terry, gonna be bumping his gums for months. So yeah, it would suck.
Yeah, like
nah, mate.
They're petrified. Honestly, they are.
Nobody's petrified. What do you
think? We're so scared. No.
That's talking. Arsenal even made the top 4.
I can hear you two. I can hear your bones shaking all the way there in America.
Terry, I tell Manchester United fans, title or bust, and you guys bottle it and say, no, we should compete.
Yeah, they don't want it. They don't want.
Why would I be scared? Why would I be scared when you guys don't even have the confidence to back yourself?
Yeah, you don't even say it with chest.
It can't be title or bust when Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea are running for it. It's title or bust if you're PSG or Bayern Munich. For me, it's challenge or bust for Oli. Because if you're challenging, you're there or thereabouts. You're good enough to. If you're challenging, that means you're good enough to win it, and you want to maintain that. It can't ever be win or bust. Otherwise, that means every club sacks their manager. Everyone but one club sacks their manager every year. That makes sense. Come on.
No. But you see how you say for Oli and not for Manchester United.
What?
You see how you say for Oli and not for Manchester United, because you don't say when you talk about Chelsea, you don't talk about for Tuchel. You say for Chelsea.
What are you talking about?
You're putting this all on the manager. You're saying if Oli wins,
well, I mean that will be their excuse. Like that will be it. It was Oli always at the wheel. We always said he couldn't win the title. It would be that.
Not even noticing. You see,
true, but it might be. It's contextual.
It's such a nice excuse to have. Like, oh, it's Oli. At 1 minute it's respect Oli. The next minute it's
there's respect. It's like this. If you came on camera and you were like, right, I need to tell you something, Terry. Oh, well, you got to tell me. I want to be a singer, right? And then you started singing, but you are bang average. I can respectfully tell you're not a good singer. That's the point when it comes to Oli, right? It's like, listen, Jess, honestly, cats are going to go deaf if you sing, but keep being you, keep smiling. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
You can be critical about somebody without being disrespectful, I think. So I hear you. Listen, man like Terry, thanks for coming on the show and having your say, brother. Thank you very, very much indeed. Everyone who's tuned in today, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Monsieur Ahmed with the super chat here says, good signing for Arsenal and for what they can do for now. It's a good signing. If Arsenal can create a spine, top 4 could be achievable. Smash the like button and big up you guys. Listen, if Arsenal get 2-3 more of these players in there looking at the Tammys and the Maddisons, legit, you can push for the top 4. There is no doubt about it. You can. Whether you've got the manager that can get you there, your squad is good enough. And that would be my point back.
We're just going to be challenging for top 4 that's good enough. And if we don't get it, we have Arteta. So
Yeah, but no, see,
there
it's
you
not
go.
that. You can challenge for it and miss, like you can challenge for it and miss out and still not sack a manager. Like imagine you miss out in about 1 point, right? But behind you is Chelsea and the team that picked you it was Liverpool, but you all got a lot of points and did well. That's still a good season because you know it's a great base to go from. If you miss out on it, but you come 5th, but you're 20 points off of it, that's a problem. Like that there's differences.
Terry,
But
you know
listen,
how this season's gonna
yeah, go on.
go. The season's gonna go like this: one of two ways. One, Arteta's gonna get sacked, and people are gonna be going through utter chaos until he leaves, or we somehow are competing for top 4 near the end of the season. And if we do get it or if we don't get it, either way, you're still going to have a large set of fan base upset that the manager of circumstances and nuances. So no matter what, this season is not going to be the season where we stop being like a joke. We're still going to be a joke to a certain degree until we're competing for a title. That's my take on it.
Let me just say one thing to you though, right? And I mean this legit, bruv. You know, there's like a gender thing fans have. It's never going away. Arteta, new manager, the next guy, the next guy, the next guy. Because there's always going to be in life. This is just generally speaking, whatever you do, there's a group of people that are unhappy. Take it away from football. Look what happens with the whole lockdown vaccine world, right? You'll get one group of people angry that lockdowns happen too early. And that's all you hear on socials, all you see on the news. I can't believe they're letting us out early. They're trying to kill us, da-da-da-da-da. And then they lock us down. And then you get a new group like, why are you locking us up? You're giving us mental health issues. It's always a negative group of people, rightly or wrongly. I don't want to get into that. You could sack Arteta tomorrow and bring in a new manager. There'll be a new group, a new noisy minority who don't like this new guy and spend the next 3, 4, 5 years ripping into him. Unless you get a manager that gives you what Wenger did. And even then, you'll have in this era, Wenger would be ridiculed even back then. Why can't he defend these titles? Why can't he win in Europe? Like we were talking about it last night on the show. Man United would have gone through this. Like there were certain players, like if there was social media back then, Drogba would have been called a flop after year 1. Like there would have been people getting on Shevchenko's back, but then others defending him saying he should stay. None of this is new. It's just everybody's got a chance to have a voice now. So there we go. But listen, I do have to go. I've got to get myself to the gym 2-a-days at the minute, trying to get into proper shape. Because for the new show that's starting in 2 weeks, the new Friday night show is 2 weeks away, ladies and gentlemen. It's like 4 camera shots. And I'm like, I just don't want to look like a big white marshmallow. Do you get what I mean? Like I can't be like a flump. I can't be doing that on TV. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again